September 11th, 2001. I remember that day just like the back of my hand. I'm asleep in my dorm. I was a sophomore at the time, and my freshman girlfriend calls me, and she's bawling, crying her eyes out, crying. And I'm like, "What's going on? What's the problem?" And she said, "They attacked us. They attacked us." And I'm thinking, "What do you mean they attacked us? They took out the World Trade Center. They attacked us." And I'm like, calm down, calm down. What is going on?" She was like, "We have had a terroristic attack. We have been attacked. Turn on the TV. They're talking about it right now. Oh my goodness. I can't believe this." And she's crying belligerently. Like she is bawling her eyes out. And me, I'm just confused. Like, what is going on? I turn on the TV and there it is. They're showing the World Trade Center and everything that's going on. The building's falling down. And they're talking about that this was a terroristic attack. And they were playing footage of the planes hitting the buildings. And I'm just shocked. My eyes are big. I'm just looking at everything that's going on. The carnage, the rubble. Little bodies just trying to fall out of the buildings. And it going down. Both of the World Trade buildings. That day, I will never forget. I will never forget the school being put on high alert for any terroristic attacks to take place in my university. Everything being shut down. My friends calling. I'm calling my family. I'm seeing if everybody's okay. They attacked the Pentagon as well. They didn't get too close to the Pentagon, but they did to the World Trade Center. That was September 11th of 2001, my sophomore year in college, when I experienced that. In that time, there was anger and hate for Muslim people because we hear that the terroristic attack happened with people from Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia. And in that time, the American people were unified to try to fight back. And then there was also hatred towards Muslim people that were already in the States. Hatred towards people that didn't look like myself, that wore a turban, or women who covered their faces up for their their race, their religion. There was a lot of hatred during that time frame. Muslims being attacked, called things that were not right in regards to the people. But the American people were unified to a certain aspect that we wanted to get back. We wanted to fight back. And we were unified in a way that we had the same anger towards those that attacked us in the World Trade Center and everything that happened between it. That we all knew what the purpose was to not like the other people because of this thing that happened. And I can remember one of my favorite directors, Michael Moore, had sometime down the road made Fahrenheit 9/11, and I watched it and I was like, wow, this is some crazy stuff. And I remember that time where George Bush was in the elementary classroom getting the word that this had happened, and he froze for several minutes at a time, not taking action, just sat there shockingly. Fast forward to January 6th, 2021. I'm working from home because, of course, the pandemic and everything, people were working remotely, and I was one of those people, fortunately. And I get a phone call from my buddy, and he's like, they're attacking the Capitol. They're attacking the Capitol. And I'm like, Man, what are you talking about? Oh, man, they are attacking the Capitol. They are trying to stop the election from taking place. They're going crazy over there, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. And I go to my other computer screen and I type in, what's going on with the news today. And there it was. The January 6th rioters attacking the Capitol, trying to stop an election that was rightfully won. And the people out there spraying the bear mace, attacking people with American flag poles and the Trump flag poles, a hangman's gallows right there at the Capitol, yelling, "Hang Mike Pence," and just the wreckage and carnage, the hate and animosity towards a free and fair election. I was lost for words. That was another time where I would never forget the day. I would never forget the plot, the plan to try to delay the election. The words that Donald Trump said is that you're not going to have a country anymore if we don't fight. The provocation, provoking people to go to the Capitol and take their country back. The last time I checked, we still have a country, no matter what the man says, because he still talks crap about our country, where he's also stirring up things with our allies, thus causing the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping, to reach out to our allies and say, hey, we can agree on some things. We don't have to hate each other. And if you need something from me, I'll take care of you. That's what's happening to this day. That's what's happening. The more that we provoke and the more that we talk about our allies, the more they're going to start swaying away from the American people and our country as an ally. And that's because of somebody that is talking craziness. They are trying to do the strong man mentality to everybody, and it's not going to work. And stick with me on this, because I'm speaking passionately about this, because it's not just about myself. It's about the people that live in my country, and it's about the things that we've experienced. And if you are my age, I'm in my 40s, and if you ever had to experience seeing what happened during the 9/11 time frame, this stuff is serious. This is very serious. So stick with me. But we are causing, not we, but there are people that are going to be in power and position that is causing problems with our allies. And we don't want that, because guess what our allies can do? It's like a friend. They can decide not to be your friend anymore. And they can go on with the, let's say, so-called enemy. That's a problem. That is definitely a problem. Back to the January 16th. This wasn't a happy-go-lucky day. This wasn't anything about love. 140 officers were injured. Several of them lost their lives. People lost their lives going to the Capitol, being provoked to do something that they shouldn't have done. They shouldn't have done it. This could have not happened if we had a leader who took their losses when they came and accepted them. Can you believe that man's going to be back in office here in the next couple of weeks? If you're like me, you want to fight for democracy. If you're like me, you want to talk about democracy and us all having a voice, all having the freedoms to say what we need to say and say it honestly. Because we do know that there is a lot of misinformation out there on what took place on January 6th of 2021. We do know that people thought that it was Antifa and that it was Black Lives Matter stirring up the things, or the CIA and all that kind of stuff. We already know what took place, and we already know who was the perpetrator and what took place on that day. That is a day that I will never forget, seeing all those individuals that did not look like me storming the Capitol. Storming the Capitol with their Proud Boys, 3%ers, insignia zones and their shirts on, and the hateful bigotry and fascist memorabilia shirts on, talking about, you know, the Holocaust and people that had to experience that back in 1942. 1939 to 1945 or 46, I believe. That's when the World War II ended. When the fascist Adolf Hitler gave up and didn't want to be put in handcuffs and tried before the people. January 6th was an insurrection. January 6th was provoked by the soon-to-be president. In my opinion, there wasn't a slew of, it was not, let me just put it like this. It wasn't a blend of people there to stop a free and fair election, the certification of election. It was not. The people that were there for the majority were white people. So my brother and sister, I do not want you to feel any kind of negativity. But if you do, that means that you're probably one of those supporters that didn't mind what happened on January 6th. Because I got numbers here, and I'm going to talk about those numbers as well. Overwhelmingly, the January 6th insurrectionists were white. Overwhelmingly. It wasn't a mixture of white and black and Asian. It was not. Overwhelmingly, the people that stormed the Capitol were males. Lo and behold, the majority of Donald Trump's voters are white males. We dive over here, and I'm going to keep this really quick now. We dive over here to the demographics when it comes to the January 6th rioters. And I got this from the law, setonhalllaw.edu. You scroll over here. The ones that were caught, 92% was overwhelmingly white males. Overwhelmingly white. 92% were there at the Capitol. I don't care if they went in the building. They shouldn't have been there. I don't care if they were on the grassy lawn. They shouldn't have been there. And I know people want to try to defend those that were there at the Capitol during the time frame of the riots, saying they didn't go in. They didn't go in. You had some that went in. So what? You shouldn't have been there. You could have been watching it on TV, especially during the pandemic time frame where we had to mask up, which some of you guys didn't want to mask up, and have social distancing. 92% Hispanics. As you well know now, Donald Trump might be putting an executive order in to deport anyone who is Hispanic, basically. Mexican, Hispanic. 5.4% were there. Blacks, 1.4% was there at the Capitol. Asians, 7.1%. We know how Asians feel about black people anyways. They really lean more towards white people in comparison to black people because they were taught that black doesn't get you success. %81 were men. 12% were women. This is America. I will not forget January 6th. Never in my life. And I will definitely not forget who were the people that were there. This is Walt with the Just Listen podcast. Post in the comment section what you think. If you think that you want to hang around with me because I'm not going anywhere, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of work to do, America. We do. Things may get rough very fast. Protect your own. Peace out.